So Chris, you mentioned that you have kind of isolated yourself from a lot of your friends because there's some shame there about what's happening. So I suppose the main people in your life now are your family, your colleagues. You mentioned the relationship's strained there. How are you finding that?
Awkward and lonely.
And have you tried to talk to your wife?
Not really. She's annoying.
She's what?
Annoying.
Annoying, okay, so she might be maybe frustrated because you're closed in, is that a...
Yeah, possibly. Be that.
Yeah, and tell me more about what annoys, sorry, what was your wife's name?
Barbara.
What do you think Barbara, like why does she annoy you?
I don't know, she's just always niggling and asking me to do things and asking me questions about the finances.
Okay, and you don't feel comfortable disclosing where you are financially?
No, well, as long as I'm providing for the family, I think that's all she needs to know.
Okay, okay. And you mentioned you had children? How many children?
Just the one.
Just the one, and is...
A boy.
A boy, what's his name?
Johnny.
Johnny, how old is Johnny?
Johnny is 7.
7. Lovely, it's a nice age.
Yeah.
And how is your relationship with Johnny? Is this affecting him at all? I know you mentioned it's affecting you, so...
Yeah. We still do what we can, but he's a bit queer, like... He's sort of a mummy's boy, I don't hang out with him too much.
Okay. And has it always been like that with Johnny?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Probably, I'm not around much, so that's probably that's the reason.
Okay, so you're not around much, is that due to work?
Yeah, work and, I often go gambling after work, so I'm home late.
Yeah. And does Barbara know where you are, or query where you are?
She just thinks I'm at work the whole time.
Okay. So I suppose I'm worried at the point where you are right now. You did say, you know, that you feel it's getting worse, and you have come here today because you're afraid it might get to the point where you can't provide for Barbara and Johnny. So it's just, the more we speak, I think it might be good if we actually go through some of these questions today.
Yeah, if we could, that'd be good.
Yeah, if you're comfortable with that. You know, I would like to get to an underlying cause of why this behaviour is happening. But sometimes, you know, when things are at this level, we kind of need to look at getting more of a bit of an immediate intervention into what's happening, so you feel a bit more supported in this, because it sounds like it's very difficult. It's been going on for long, and you've nobody to talk to about, so you must have been harbouring a lot of stress, and I'm really glad you came here today so we can look at some options to get you some help, so you don't have to do this by yourself.
Yep.
So I'll just get your filled out sheet back out. So when you think of the last 12 months, have you bet more than you could really afford to lose?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Betting with borrowed money, I suppose.
Yeah.
Bank overdrafts, that type of thing.
Yeah. And can you tell me more about the feeling when you lose that money and you're leaving your place of gambling?
Oh, just rock bottom. There's no real worse feeling, I don't think.
Yeah.
And if you hit your daily limit, you can't withdraw any more money, that's got to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that must be so difficult. Yeah. And especially because you're internalizing all this, you're not speaking to anyone, you've no support, it must feel like the weight of the world on your shoulders, really.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Still thinking about the last 12 months, have you needed to gamble with larger amounts of money to get the same feeling of excitement? I think you already answered that in our previous conversation.
Yeah, probably a big cause of the increased losses.
Yeah. When you gambled, did you go back another day to try and win back the money you lost? I can see again sometimes, and we did discuss that. have you ever borrowed money or sold anything to get money to gamble? And you said sometimes. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
No, it's more. I haven't sold anything, but I haven't borrowed money from anyone other than like financial institutions in the way of my overdraft and my credit cards. I have recently got a new credit card which I've already racked up to the max.
Yeah. Okay, have you ever felt that you might have a problem with gambling? You've marked almost always. It's why you're here, I suppose. Has gambling ever caused you any health problems, including stress and anxiety? So you've put most of the time here. So
I'm always anxious now after, the debt we put ourselves in.
Yeah. So you're constantly thinking about what's going on and what's happening financially.
How I'm going to fix things,
Yeah. And is there any time that you have a break or you can find something that you enjoy doing? I suppose a different release, something you can do to take your mind off things, or somewhere you can go that you just feel a bit of comfort or peace?
No, not really. That's how I got into it in the first place, I suppose. I didn't have that release.
Yeah. So I find it hard to imagine that it was always like that. Is there any period of time that you were happy?
I was happy, I suppose. Barbara being so annoying all the time, I just needed to get out of the house. So that was where I ended up, I suppose.
Yeah. But you were a happy child, you good?
Yeah. Just standard child.
Yeah. And so, sorry, just to recap, and then you mentioned you started to do it with fun with your friends for a release, and then it was getting worse. You started doing it alone, and you feel that was due to pressure maybe in the marriage?
Yeah, I suppose I was just looking for somewhere where I could have a break by myself. It just ended up, that's what it was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely look into that some more. Have people criticised your betting, or told you had a gambling problem regardless of whether or not you thought it was true?
Well, no, because I hide it.
Right.
No, nice.
Yeah, and I suppose the people in the casino aren't going to say anything.
No.
Has your gambling caused any financial problems for you or the household?
Oh, yes, obviously. The household didn't. I suppose that old Barbara and Johnny probably starting to notice,
Yeah. Notice you mentioned before not having as many nice things, or more so your mood?
Yeah, that'd be the main part of it, I think. Like, there's no new belongings, or there's no, Johnny sort of just gets by with the bare necessities for school and everything, and Barbara's still got her credit card that she still spends if she needs to, but once that's maxed out and she realises I haven't been paying it off, I suppose that's when it's all gonna hit the fan.
Right, okay, so you feel you're going to be caught and have to talk about this with your family very soon? Yeah. I mean, they may already have some suspicions if they are noticing, so it would be good for us, I suppose, to get to a point where you have some control over the situation. So maybe you may be able to speak to your family before it blows up, as you mentioned. That's the last thing we want. It'd be nice for you to be in a place where you feel that you're on the way out. I think that's the best option, instead of you just letting this get any more out of control. And again, I'm happy you came here today, so we can definitely get you some help and look into the underlying issues that are causing this behaviour. I know you're saying it's just compulsive, and it's just got to a point where you're trying to get yourself out. but usually there is, some reasons that we need these releases and escapes, and things do stay very strained at home. So it'd be nice to get some clarity and move forward in that area too. And again, you've marked this one most of the time. Have you ever felt guilty about the way you gamble or what happens when you gamble? So, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it is guilt.
Yeah. So I suppose there's a couple of things I'd like to talk to you about around this. I'll just have a look at your score. So you've scored 8, which means you have problem gambling with negative consequences and a possible loss of control. So I think, from our conversation, I think you're aware, that this might go a bit out of control. People are going to find out soon. So what would you do if, I suppose, you just couldn't gamble from today on, if something happened? How would that affect you if you had no access to gambling?
Yeah, well, that's the only way I would be able to stop if I had no access.
Yeah. Okay, well, there is something that we do have in Queensland where you can disclose to the casinos, to anywhere that there's pokies or any other gambling facility. You can present yourself with your ID and effectively bar yourself from the premises. And that's definitely gonna, just at least, it will put you off, will be something to stop you and prevent you from going in and doing that, or maybe think twice. It won't be as easy. So I highly recommend that that's something you do ASAP. Is that something you think you could do, or?
Yeah, I suppose I could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't really got any other options now.
I think so. I mean, it's we really don't want you going down that road. You're aware of how bad this could get. It's already gotten very bad. There is things, we can look at, and services we can refer you to help you financially. And here we can continue to work collaboratively to look at what's going on underneath all this. Look at the marital issues, look at the social issues, and look at the, your outlets. You're telling me you've nothing you do that makes you happy. We can get to a point where you can start exploring these things, but for now I think it's very important that the gambling stops. It's not going to improve your mood, it's going to get worse. We need a reliable way of fixing your financial situation at the moment, I think. Would you agree? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing I just want to give you, I have a leaflet for here. It's just a list of meetings. So I know you mentioned the word addiction, and I'm not in any way insinuating that that's what it is, but you are at a point of problem where you do need support. This is a leaflet for something called Gamblers Anonymous. So there's meetings that happen regularly here in Cairns, and basically it's just people going to talk about what's going on for them and how they've got help. There'll be people there you can meet and you can talk to who are in a similar situation or have been in a similar situation and got out of it. I think if you are feeling the need to gamble still, it might be just worth going and sitting in. It's just a suggestion for extra support. And I think it would be really beneficial just to hear other people, and it might give you a bit of support in between our sessions. So it's just an option I wanted to give you, and I highly recommend going around to the casinos and any haunts you have for gambling. But again, it's a suggestion for you just to think about. So I suppose that's kind of an overview of where you're at now.
Yep.
And I think for today, just looking at the time, we will need to look at wrapping it up. Do you have any further questions or anything regarding today's session?
No, not really. It's been good to be able to talk about it, but obviously yes, we're going to have to work moving forward
Mhm.
to see how I can fix all this mess.
Yeah. And that's really positive that you're taking these steps, and you know, I've every hope that you'll be feeling a lot better. It's just at the moment there's a lot going on, but we will definitely work through it. So I suppose I would suggest us meeting once a week, maybe for the next 8 consecutive weeks. And then maybe we can look at reducing it and see where we're at. How does that sound? Does that work for you?
No, give that a go, yeah.
Okay, and does this time work for you each week? I know you're busy with your work. Yeah, perfect, too easy. And if it does change, you can just ring reception and they'll work something out on my calendar with you.
Yep.
Okay, if that's all and you've no other questions.
All good, thank you.
Alright, thank you so much, and thanks for coming in today, Chris, and I'll be really looking forward to seeing you next week and hearing how you go. If you need an appointment any sooner, you can always contact reception and maybe they can find an opening. So yeah, I wish you all the best, and thanks again for coming in. Right, thank you.
Thank you.